3-1 for the first time since 2018. Hi again, everyone. I'm James Rapien with Sports Illustrated's AllBengals.com and Cincinnati Bengals talk here with Ben Baby of ESPN. And Ben, you're covering a winning team. We're covering a winning team as the Bengals handle business tonight at Paul Brown Stadium. 24-21 in a game that, as we were sitting next to each other, ugly start. Let's start with the ugly and then we'll get to the good. Make you wait for it. What the heck was going on in that first half?
You know, it's a really good question, and it looks like, the Bengals lacked to get any sense of rhythm, and Zac Taylor said as much after the game, and I thought it was interesting, in the press box, we like to have a good amount of banter when we're up there, and we talked about the Bengals really needing to pass the ball a little bit more, and they've really strived to be balanced over these first, 4 games, and they definitely showed that in the first half, but today against Jacksonville, I think the game plan called for throwing it around a lot. We've seen other teams have a lot of success in the passing game, and when the Bengals open it up and really lean on the passing attack, you saw the offense flow a little better. And I know that Zac Taylor said that going into 3 tight end packages helped the run game, but really I felt like the run game opened up once the Bengals started passing a little bit more. They started to get in a tempo, and then the running game was a little easier, and Joe Mixon was able to find those lanes. And so I think that as we see Joe Burrow continue to get more comfortable and he getting more autonomy on a week-by-week basis, he's starting to do a lot of good things, and we really saw the best version of him tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I think Joe Burrow, unleashing him was one of my keys, and they certainly did that in the second half. He threw a couple of touchdowns to C.J. Uzomah, topped the 300-yard mark, 348 yards, completed 78% of his passes, and to me, this is the blueprint now. Assuming you can keep him upright, unleashing this offense. There was no T. Higgins tonight, but they scored on all 4 of their second half possessions. They win 24-21, and it was Uzomah who kind of led the way and set up the game-winning field goal on the far goalpost there with a jailbreak screen. Who would have thought C.J. Uzomah would be catching screens?
Definitely not C.J. Uzomah, because they did not run that in practice, and the second time this season that they've won a game on a play that C.J. wasn't necessarily expecting. Yeah. I think that shows the readiness of this offense, to be quite honest, and you've got to give the Bengals and Zac Taylor a ton of credit, even though it wasn't his play. He said, I only gave Joe 1 play call. Joe was the one who checked to it, but they ran it enough in training camp and in the preseason that Joe knew what would be a good look against a zero blitz. So give them credit for repping that, and then Joe to have that knowledge to know that the Jacksonville defensive coordinator had a Baltimore background like that zero blitz, and that they didn't really bluff it when they looked at they were going to show it. Being able to get to that play, I think it showed kind of his development, his intelligence, and his command of the offense and the playbook. And for the Bengals, that's a really good thing, especially as they move into the heart of the season when it really begins and when things are going to get a little more difficult.
Yeah, speaking of difficult, it was difficult for Zac Taylor the first couple of years here, but 3-1, he's got 50% of his win total. He's 6-25-1, now 3-1 this year, just a month into the season. And last thing here, and let's dive into Zac just a little bit, because they could have, I don't want to say mailed it in, but it's a short week. No Jesse Bates, no T. Higgins, no Chidobe Awuzie, and the Jacksonville Jaguars were taking it to him. And this goal line behind us, if Logan Wilson doesn't get a stop before the half, it's 21-0, and we're talking about an embarrassment on Ring of Honor night. And instead, we're talking about all these good things and everyone's smiling in the locker room. I do think Zac deserves a lot of credit for keeping these guys together.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting when you asked C.J. Uzomah after the game. He pointed to the fact that, when Zac got here, there was a culture that they wanted to build. And a lot of us were kind of skeptical of that, especially as the losses started to pile up. And C.J. made a good point, like it isn't something that just happens overnight. And we kind of saw a culmination of this. We've seen bits and pieces over the years of a team that's been able to be resilient, and they have been. I mean, when you look at how they responded after the Chicago loss, at Pittsburgh, whenever, the Steelers tied it up and it looked like that game was going to be in the balance, they got a big touchdown at the end of the first half. And tonight, when they, like you said, they easily could have folded, defense gets a stop, and the offense really responded at the beginning of the second half to make this a game. So I think that Zac gets a ton of credit, but, I think when we looked at the schedule at the beginning of the season, we all knew that these were going to be the games that were winnable. Mm-hmm. It's the end of the season that's going to be difficult. So while it's good that they got these, you can't have the inconsistency that they showed tonight and that they've showed throughout the early part of the season. They've got to put together more complete games, because when you start playing better teams, you're going to need a full 4 quarters if you want to really be a postseason squad.
Like Green Bay 9 days now, because it's Friday technically. It's past midnight. So 9 days from now, the Bengals will host the Packers right here. He's going to have it covered at ESPN.com. He is ESPN's Ben Baby. I appreciate it, man. And make sure you hit that subscribe button on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Check out allbengals.com as well, because, hey, the Bengals are 3-1 for the first time since the Marvin Lewis era. Until next time, for Ben Baby, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching.